Okay, welcome to the deep dive. You send us the stories, the articles, the things that catch your eye, and we try to pull out the really key stuff, the insights that make you think, but without burying you in information. Today, we're diving into this piece of fiction you shared. Really compelling. It's set in this town, seems quiet, called Silent Pines. But yeah, don't let that fool you. This story, it throws us right into it. A family moves to this old house, loaded with secrets. There are strange things happening in the woods nearby, and the town itself. Well, it's got this recurring, pretty disturbing event tied to it. Our source is this narrative excerpt. It's got hints of local history, maybe folklore, maybe something else. There's definitely this growing feeling of unease. So okay, let's step into Silent Pines. Right at the center, we've got the Mathesons, Rebecca, the mom, and her kids, Eliza, who's 16, and Noah, 12. Now, their move isn't exactly a happy one. It's driven by loss, really. Rebecca's husband passed away, money got tight in the city, so they inherit this old Victorian house from Uncle Vernon. It's supposed to be temporary, a place to catch their breath.
But the house itself, it feels heavy. It's described as, sprawling and ornate. But the big thing, it backs right onto this huge, dense forest. And even before they unpack, they get a sense of Uncle Vernon's reputation. Locals thought he was eccentric, maybe even disturbed. A lot of that had to do with his wife vanishing decades ago. Just that fact makes you stop and think, right, what happened there? And the house has these odd details. Noah, the younger one, he spots these weird carvings. They're on door frames, window sills. The real estate agent just kind of brushes it off, calls them protection runes. Says Vernon was superstitious. But these little things, they start painting a picture, don't they? A town where maybe runes aren't just dismissed. Makes you wonder about the history there. And the mystery definitely deepens when Eliza finds her uncle's journal, leather-bound, filled with this really precise, tight handwriting. The entries, they seem obsessed with the forest, the moon cycles, and this phrase that keeps popping up, the thinning. It just sounds ominous. There's this one entry, October 17th, 1997. It says,
"The thinning begins again. Saw lights moving between the trees. They're searching. Must reinforce the boundaries." Yeah, Rebecca. She tries to find a logical reason. Understandable. She figures it's just her uncle's mind going, But as Eliza starts living in Silent Pines, do those entries start hitting differently? Maybe there's more to it than paranoia. Eliza's pretty alone at the new school at first, but she makes one friend, Cameron Hayes. He runs the school paper. And Cameron, well, he seems to know a surprising amount about the town's undercurrents. He tells her about the house's reputation and about Uncle Vernon's weird habit. Apparently, he used to patrol his property line every night.
Yeah.
With a shotgun, loaded with rock salt. Rock salt. Eliza asks why, and Cameron mentions the local folklore. Says it keeps spirits away. He also points out something creepy about the town's name, Silent Pines. Says the forest there. It's just swallow sound. Totally. If you go off the trail, you can't even hear yourself walk. It's that mix, Everyday life bumping up against this creeping dread really sets the mood. What does a silent forest even mean?
Things get more personal, more worrying when Eliza sees Noah near the woods. She calls him, he turns, but his face is just blank, vacant. That look, it scares her, properly scares her. Then soon after, she hears scratching sounds, faint outside her bedroom window at night. Next morning, fresh carvings on the window frame, like her uncle's runes, but rough, like someone did them in a hurry. And then Noah starts sleepwalking, always heading towards the forest, towards that dark tree line. He doesn't remember it afterwards, but he keeps having this dream. A voice calling him from the trees, saying it needs his help. It's like the forest itself is pulling him in. What could be calling him? As October moves on, the whole vibe in Silent Pines changes. It gets stranger. Halloween decorations pop up, but they're not fun and cheerful. They're described as somber, almost sad. Instead of ghosts and pumpkins, people are hanging dried herbs over their doors, putting these odd little twig dolls out in their yards. It's such a contrast to how cities usually celebrate. It feels like the town treats this time of year with, seriousness, maybe ritual where they're trying to ward off. Then Cameron's research adds this really cold layer of fear. He's been digging through old missing persons reports, and he finds a pattern, a horrible one. People disappear every 7 years, always in October. And the victims, always newcomers, people new to Silent Pines. When Eliza puts it together that this year, 2023 in the story, is another 7th year, well, suddenly all these weird little things start looking like pieces of something awful. And Rebecca finds something too in the town records, Uncle Vernon's wife. She wasn't the first person to vanish from that house. Other relatives stayed there over the years. They disappeared too. Makes you wonder, is it the house? Is it some kind of magnet? Then Margaret Holloway, their next door neighbor, she steps in. And she carries the weight of the town's history with her. She talks about this pact between Silent Pines and the forest, something generations old. The town gets prosperity protection, but in return, it needs maintenance. That's the word she uses. When Eliza pushes, Margaret hints that the forest, it's drawn to certain people. And every 7 years, the veil, the boundary between worlds, it gets thin. Crossings happen.
She implies Uncle Vernon knew all about this, that he protected his family, but sometimes at great cost. It's incredibly ominous. And then after Margaret leaves, they find fresh symbols drawn on their porch, symbols that match the ones in Vernon's journal perfectly. It's like a confirmation, isn't it? Whatever Margaret hinted at, it's real, tangible, tied right to the house. As Halloween gets closer, Noah, he gets much worse. He barely talks, barely eats. He just spends hours staring out of the woods. And Eliza finds him watching her sleep sometimes, just standing there silently. It's deeply disturbing. Then he says something just flat, monotone. They're waiting for me. Says they need someone who can see both sides. It points to something way beyond normal understanding, right? And that's when Eliza checks the journal against the calendar. She finds it. October 31st, marked with that phrase, the final thinning, the night the boundaries are weakest. All those fragments, the weirdness, the disappearances, Noah. They're all clicking into place. It's terrifying. This family just walked into a town caught in this dark cycle, and the youngest son seems to be the target, or the key.
It forces you to think, how deep does this pact go? What's the real price for Silent Pines looking so peaceful? I mean, this story just pulls you in, doesn't it? The line between what's normal and what might be supernatural feels so thin, so fragile. The way Silent Pines' history slowly comes out, the woods and whatever's in them, the dread building around the Mathesons, it all leads to this incredibly tense climax. And the big question, the really terrifying one, is what is on the other side of that thinning? And what is Eliza going to have to do? It's just a chilling reminder, you know? Sometimes the quietest places hide the deepest, darkest secrets right under the surface. So as we've gone through this deep dive into Silent Pines, what parts of it really stuck with you? What questions or, I don't know, unsettling thoughts has the story left you with? Here's something maybe to chew on. In the story, we see these sacrifices generation after generation, all to keep this precarious balance. Even if that balance is built on fear, on darkness, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the unseen sacrifices maybe made in any community, or even in families, to keep things looking normal, stable.
Are there always these kinds of thinnings in our own lives? Maybe less dramatic, sure, but moments that demand we pay attention, make hard choices. Think about those long-held secrets, the cycles repeating in Silent Pines. What shadows might linger just out of sight in our own worlds?